If you're coming to Barcelona this April 2025, in this video, I'm gonna break down everything that you need to know so that you have a great time while you're here. But before we get deep into the video, I want to apologize for the tardiness of this video. A lot of you have been asking about if I was going to do an April 2025 video. I've done one every single month since December of 2021, so I didn't want to miss out on this one, but because there's so much going on, I really wanted to wait and see if I could find the best information so I could give you some more detailed things than just some general ideas of what's going on. So what we're gonna see is you've got things like Easter week, you've got St. Jordi, you've got the best day of the year to be in Barcelona. So those of you that are gonna be here in the middle of the month, towards the end, you've got a lot coming your way. So let's get into it. What you can expect if you're visiting Barcelona in April this year are all sorts of activities. What you're gonna see is that basically every single week there's something to do, and with the weather being how it's been lately, you're probably gonna be outside and really taking advantage of everything that you can do in Barcelona. Get outside, walk, enjoy the city. You will see people getting over to the beach, a lot of activity going on over there. Some people might even in April start getting into the water. As of right now, while I'm filming, it's a little bit too early to get into the water, but maybe towards the end of the month, you'll start to see that. What you can expect for average highs is around 19 Celsius, so that's gonna be about 66 Fahrenheit, but we've already seen some temperatures higher than that at this point. So we might see some better temperatures as well. Now those lows are gonna drop down to about 13 Celsius, 55 Fahrenheit, so you will see a pretty big fluctuation. I always recommend bringing layers because the mornings and the evenings are gonna be much cooler than in the middle of the day. You're still gonna be comfortable walking around in a lighter jacket, some jeans, and the locals are definitely gonna be wearing maybe even some coats. You will see some of the tourists coming in wearing shorts and you'll be comfortable in that as well, but just keep that in mind that you're gonna have a great time during the day, especially walking around and really taking in the city. Get over and enjoy a lunch on a terrace, walk around the city and really take it all in. Now, a lot of people have been asking about the rain. March, we had about 15 days of rain when the average is usually about 5. So when I'm telling you all of these things about the weather, what do I know? Check the weather before you come so you have a better idea, but usually you can expect a great time in April. And with all the activities that you're gonna wanna be out for, it's really a great time to be here. April 1st in Barcelona is just a normal day. There is no April Fool's Day. In Barcelona, we really celebrate that kind of April Fool's spirit in December. So we've already played our jokes, nothing you're gonna be missing out on so far. And our first big event isn't going to be until that first weekend. We've got Comic Barcelona from April 4th to April 6th over at the Fira de Montjuïc. This is gonna be the 43rd edition and they're expecting over 100,000 people to come and check out all of these different exhibits about comics. They've got some concerts, some talks, all sorts of different things. And there will be a big debate about the use of AI in the comics. So if you're into all of that, get over to Montjuïc and check it out. Just next door in the Montjuïc mountain and the week after from April 11th to the 13th, you've got Barcelona Beer Festival. It's back in the city, an event that's been running since 2011 and is really a place to just learn about all sorts of different beers from both around the area and internationally. They've got all sorts of beers on tap, they've got prizes going out for some of the best beers, and it is an event that gets very busy. You can already get your tickets online, and my recommendation is to make sure you book in advance. You can skip those lines, get the fast pass, and you can even get some tokens that you can use towards some of those beers. It's a really fun event. You can check out my video that I did there a couple years ago, but it's something you won't want to miss while you're in the city. Another big event that takes place every single April in Barcelona is the Barcelona Banc Sabadell Open. This is the big tennis tournament held over at the Real Club de Tenis in Barcelona, where you've got the 72nd edition of the big open held in the city. This year, it's gonna be running from the 12th to the 20th, so it's gonna be running over that Easter week. Expect a lot of people being in the city during that time, but if you want to get your tickets, you can go online and make sure that you get the days that you want. Keep in mind that the very beginning of the tournament, those tickets are much cheaper than towards the end, where the first 2 days are going to be really those preliminary rounds before the real first round starts on the 14th. Now this year, you've got 4 of the top 10 players in the world that are going to be playing in the event, including Carlos Alcaraz, who is from Spain, very young, promising talent. He's already won the US Open and Wimbledon, I believe. So get over there if you want to check out some of the best tennis in the world. Now, while we do have a bunch of different celebrations throughout the month, there are going to be two specific public holidays where you will see more store closures going on, and those are going to run in the Easter week. Semana Santa this year is running as late as it can, and it's going to fall almost towards the end of April. We've got April 13th to the 21st. Now, here in Barcelona and in Catalonia, it's a little bit different than if you go to other parts of Spain. For one, you're not going to see as many of those processions. There are several throughout the week that we've got going on, but they're not going to be as big as in going to places like Zaragoza, Madrid, or even getting down south to places like Seville. You will see those processions through parts of the older city on specific days for the representation of that entire Holy Week, but it's not going to be as big. You do have a bunch of other things that are going on throughout the entire week. And one of the things that I've done, and you can get it right below, is you can download my free guide to Easter week here in Barcelona. It's going to go much more into the specific details and the timings of all of these different things. But the whole week is going to get kicked off with Palm Sunday, the 13th of April, where you have that idea of Jesus arriving and being received with the palms. So you do have the blessing of the palms and some special masses like over in the cathedral. If you're here the couple days before, you will find some palm markets over at Rambla de Catalunya or even at the Sagrada Familia where you can buy those palms and get them blessed. There's not so much going on until we get to Holy Thursday. Now, in many other parts of Spain, this is a public holiday, but it is not one in Barcelona. What you have is the holiday on Good Friday, as it is in many places, which gives you that longer Easter weekend. Now, Good Friday being the holiday, Saturday not so much, and then Sunday being the other public holiday. Because it's already a Sunday, most businesses are going to be closed anyway. Just keep that in mind. On the Friday and the Sunday, you might find more things closed than usual, with a lot more movement in the city as well. Now, tourist attractions, especially places like the Casa Batlló, Casa Milà, those are big places that if you're still looking for something to do, are still going to be open on those days. One of the big differences over here in Barcelona is that the Monday of Easter week, that Monday after Easter week really, Monday the 21st, is a holiday here as well. That's not the case in many of the other places, but it is much more of a family day. So people aren't going to be maybe out in the streets as much. They will be home and celebrating. One of the things, if you want to join in the celebrations, is buying a mona. Traditionally an Easter cake, but now what you'll find all over the city are huge chocolate cakes, chocolate eggs, chocolate creations that the Godfather will give to the godchildren on those days. Usually the families meet up and hang out, maybe have lunch, and then the celebration afterwards. It's a really fun tradition, and I'm really excited for the second year to be able to celebrate with my godson. But apart from those specific days that I've outlined, there will be processions on some of those days that you can find in that free guide that I've made all about what's going on, where to find those, the churches that they'll be at, and the timings. Another big thing that you're going to have over at the Sagrada Familia is a projection of a light show on the Passion facade. Celebrating that Semana Santa, you can get over and check it out. I have that labeled in each one of the days in that guide, so it's really going to help you out. Download that, you can bring it with you, and you can find the specific places that you want to be. Now, what I think is the biggest day in April, and really one of the biggest days in the entire year to be in Barcelona, is going to be April 23rd to celebrate the day of Sant Jordi. What's known here as La Diada de Sant Jordi, the big day of St. George, the patron saint of all of Catalonia. The celebration is taking place April 23rd, and even though it's not a public holiday, you'd probably think it was. This year, it's going to fall on a Wednesday, so we might not see as many people out in the streets as we would if it were a Saturday or a Sunday, but you'll still see a lot of people getting out of the office, getting out of their work to go and celebrate with everybody. Now, the day of St. George is really known as the day of the book and the rose, and if you haven't seen my video all about why St. George is celebrated and what it is all about, the legend of St. George is that he kills a dragon. And when he kills this dragon, he saves a princess from being eaten by the dragon. Out of the dragon's blood, he takes a rose, gives it to the princess, and now that idea of giving the rose took place on every April 23rd. Many years later, it's going to be tied into the gifting of a book, and traditionally women get roses and guys get books on this day. But when they made the switch, the year was 1931, and this coincided with the celebration of the Second Republic here in Spain. Because there were Catalan flags flying everywhere, it's also been tied into the day of the Catalan flag. So you're going to see books, you're going to see roses, you're going to see people all around celebrating. Usually it's a beautiful day. I really can't wait to get over and celebrate. And it's become a UNESCO World Heritage Day as the day of the book, but also the day of authors' rights. Now, we don't have the full plans exactly of what's going to go on, but you will see many different spots around the city, especially with booksellers and florists all around. What they've done in the last couple years is they've blocked off Passeig de Gràcia and the Rambla de Catalunya and the surrounding area as one giant super block. And what you'll see is the traffic is cut off. You've got book stands all around, authors coming in throughout the day to sign these books, and then roses in all the different stands as well. It's a lot of fun. And one of the best things that you can see is getting over to the Casa Batlló, where the entire decoration, what is that facade of the legend of St. George, is covered with all of these different roses. Like I said, it is a really, really fun day. You usually get a 10% discount for buying any of the books, but it's a great tradition. And so I hope that if you're over here, you can really take advantage and get over not only to that super block, but you will find some places over in the Plaza Real or even along La Rambla that's selling those books and roses. Probably one of the days that you don't want to plan too much to be doing, just so you can get around and take in everything that's going on. But just keep in mind, it's going to be a packed area wherever you are. And this year, one of the special activities is going to be happening at 7 p.m. over in the Plaza de la Universitat. It's called Sant Jordi por la Llengua, and what you have is the ANC, which is a big cultural association that has set up a defense of the Catalan language, the Catalan culture. They'll be having a gathering over at the Universitat, so if you see a bunch of people over there, now you know what that's about. Another big celebration that takes place every single year towards the end of April is the Feria de Abril de Catalunya. Maybe you've heard of the famous Feria of Seville that takes place down in Seville in April, where you have about 2 weeks of just a big party with all sorts of people getting really dressed up and celebrating. What you have here in Catalonia is from a lot of that migration coming from the south. They've set up the Feria de Abril de Catalunya, which takes place over in the Forum. It's a little bit further up the coast, not out of Barcelona, but definitely gives you a bunch more space right along the beach, and you can celebrate with all sorts of different tents and different food being set up, concerts, activities, and everything. This year is going to be the 53rd edition, and it should be running from the end of April, starting around the 25th until early May, probably ending around the 4th. If April 23rd is the day of Sant Jordi, the patron saint of all of Catalonia, April 27th is the patron saint of the Diocese of Catalonia, Montserrat. Now, you've probably heard that name as one of the best day trips that you can make just outside of Barcelona to visit the monastery of Montserrat up in the mountain, which is an incredible experience. I would definitely recommend it, especially this year, because the monastery is celebrating the 1000th year anniversary from its foundation. That's right, the monastery was founded in 1025. This year being the 1000th year anniversary, they've got all sorts of different celebrations throughout the year. Over 1,000 different activities, and definitely for the 27th, the day of Montserrat, they have both the 26th and 27th with some special masses that are going on, not only in the basilica, but on the outside of the church as well. Now, you do have to sign up for all of those. You can go over to the Millennium website and sign up for those masses if you want to attend, but keep in mind that a lot of the locals will go up, especially the ladies named Montserrat. It's a special tradition to go over there on that day, so you might find it a little bit busier than normal. And if you're looking to go over to Montserrat throughout the entire month, is going to be a great time, really throughout the entire year. Especially with the weather that we should have in April, you'll get up to the monastery and you'll have beautiful views around the area. It's definitely something that I would recommend looking into while you're here. The other thing that you can do on April 27th, if you don't want to get out of the city, is stay right in the center and head over to Rambla de Catalunya, usually around the Diagonal area, where they'll be having the Barcelona hat stroll. This is the 21st edition, something that was set up as kind of like a silly but fun event. Get over and everyone will just be wearing hats and taking a walk. Now, they are some pretty elaborate hats, so just wearing a normal baseball cap will count, but you're gonna see a lot of kind of like modernist traditions and some really extravagant different hats. So if you wanna see something a little bit different while you're here, get over and join on in. And with all these activities that are going on, of course, you've got all sorts of football games. And it feels like in April, you've got even more than the usual. But remember, if you want to go to any of these games, most of them already have the specific date picked out. There's just one that we're not sure about the date and the timing. The rest of them are pretty set. So just get over to the official websites and make sure you get those official tickets for the clubs. Now, for Barca, you've got April 5th versus Betis, April 9th versus Dortmund, and that's a Champions League game. April 19th versus Celta, and then April 23rd might be April 22nd against Mallorca. That's the one game that we're not 100% sure when it's actually going to be, but hopefully we'll find out pretty soon. Just remember to get online and check it out if you're going to be in town at that time. The Espanyol games are going to be on April 18th. We've only really got one option. They're playing Getafe. And then the Femení team for Barca is playing April 13th against Atletico Madrid, April 16th for Sevilla, and April 20th against Chelsea, and that's going to be a Champions League game. And if I'm not mistaken, that's who they beat in the Champions League final last year to win it all. So it's going to be a pretty big game. They got a lot in a very little amount of time. So if you're interested in any of those, go and check out those websites and you can catch a great game while you're here. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you very much for watching. I know that this video came out a little bit later than many of the other monthly guides, but I hope it can still help you plan for everything that you want to do while you're here in Barcelona in April. I've been super busy with a bunch of different tours, trips out of Barcelona, and some awesome projects that I'm really excited to roll out. So keep watching these videos to know when those come out so they can help you better prepare all of your trips and upcoming times to Barcelona. And in the meantime, watch this video next so you can see all of the things that are going on throughout the entire year of 2025 right here in Barcelona.